Hey guys, welcome back. So today we'll be adding mixed fractions with other mixed fractions. Let's look at our first example here. We have 5 and 7/9 plus 8 and 4/9. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my mixed numbers. Since my denominators are the same, then I can go ahead and add my numerators. So 7 plus 4, this is going to equal 11. And then that's going to be over 9. And I have 5 plus 8. This is going to equal 13. By looking at this example, notice here that my 11 over 9 is an example of an improper fraction. So I'm going to divide. 9 goes into 11 one time. 9 times 1 is 9. 11 minus 9, this is going to equal 2. So your final answer here, if you turn it into a mixed number, your 11 over 9 is going to be 1 and 2/9. So now that we turned our 11 over 9 into a mixed number, I'm going to go ahead and bring my 13 down here. So I have 13 plus the 1 and 2/9 here. I'm going to add my whole numbers. This is going to be 14 and 2/9. And this is your final answer. And remember guys, because we are adding our mixed numbers, if you want to write out your mixed numbers, you can do that as well. So I'm going to do 5 plus 8 plus 7 over 9 plus my 4 over 9. If this is easier to do it like this, you can do it like this as well. So if you do your 5 plus 8, this is going to give you 13. So if I do 5 plus 8, this is 13. And then if I do plus my 7 over 9 plus my 4 over 9. So if you do 13, 7 over 9 plus 4 over 9, this is going to be 11 over 9. So this is going to give you 13 and 11/9. And remember, same thing, this is an example of an improper fraction, the 11 over 9. So if I turn it back into a mixed number, then your answer again here is going to be 14 and 2/9. Let's look at our next example here. So now we're going to add. I'm going to add my 12 plus my 3. This is going to give me 15. And then notice here you have 1 over 4 plus 5 over 6. So notice here my denominators are not the same. Since my denominators are not the same, then I need to find a common denominator. So I'm going to list the multiples of 4 and then the multiples of 6. And we're going to find the least common multiple. The least common multiple between the two is going to be the number 12. So that means I need to get 12 in my denominator so that I can add. I'm going to multiply my 4 by 1, 2, 3. Multiply top and bottom here by 3. And for my 6, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1, 2. Because that's going to give me 12 in my denominator. Now we're going to multiply so that we can add. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. We got that. 5 times 2 is 10. And then 6 times 2 is also 12. We have that. Now that my denominators are the same, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 over 12 plus 10 over 12. This is going to equal 13 over 12. So your answer here, we have our 15. This is going to be 13 over 12 here. However, looking at this example, we have an improper fraction because the number on top, my 13, is larger than the number at the bottom, which is my denominator. So I'm going to put my 12 on the outside, 13 on the inside. 12 goes into 13 one time. 12 times 1 is 12. 13 minus 12 is going to equal 1. So as a mixed number, this is going to equal 1 and 1/12. So now you have 15 plus the 1 from the whole number, which is what we have here, and your 1/12 here. Now, if I add my whole numbers, you add your 15 plus the 1, this is going to equal 16, and then you have your 1/12 here. So your final answer is going to be 16 and 1/12. So let's say you wanted to write this out. So let's say if you do 12 plus your 3 plus your 1 over 4 plus your 5 over 6. So 12 plus 3 is 15. 1 over 4 plus 5 over 6. We just solved that and we got 13 over 12. This is going to give you 15 and 13/12. And when you turn everything back into a mixed number, you're going to get 15 plus your 1 and 1/12 here. And then your final answer is going to take you back to the 16 and 1/12 that we have here. So notice here that you do get the same answer. Let's look at this example here. So if I do 5 plus 7, this is going to equal 12. And then if I add 4 over 5 plus my 1 over 5, notice that my denominators are the same. Since my denominators are the same, I can go ahead and just add my numerator. So 4 over 5 plus 1 over 5, this is going to equal 5 over 5. However, 5 over 5 equals 1. So 4 over 5 plus 1 over 5 equals 1. However, I'm going to add my 1, and this is going to give me 13 as my final answer. So let's say you wrote everything out here on this side. 5 plus 7, this is going to give us 12. And then you have 4 over 5 plus your 1 over 5. This is going to be 5 over 5. So you have 12 plus your 1, because 5 over 5 equals 1. This is going to give you 13. So notice here you do get the same answer. Let's look at this example. Well, notice here I can go ahead and add 1 over 3 plus 5 over 12. So we have 1 over 3 plus 5 over 12. Notice here my denominators are not the same. Since my denominators are not the same, then I need to find a common denominator. So we're going to do 3, 6, 9, 12. I'll stop here for now. And for my 12, we're just going to do 12, 24, 36, and I'll stop here for now. The least common multiple between the two, or the least common denominator between the two, is going to be the number 12. So a 12 here and a 12 here. Now for my 3, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's going to give me 12 in my denominator. And then for my 12, I'm just going to multiply top and bottom by 1. So 4 times 1, this is going to give me 4. And this is going to be over 12. And then you have 5 times 1, this is going to be 5. And that's going to be over 12. My denominators are the same. So now I have 4 over 12 plus 5 over 12. This is going to equal 9 over 12. So these two fractions here, 1 over 3 plus your 5 over 12, this is going to equal 9 over 12. And then when you add your whole numbers, this is going to give you a 3. However, just by looking at my 9 over 12, I can simplify my 9 over 12 because the number 3 goes into both. So my numerator is going to be 3, and then my denominator is going to be 4. So if you simplify your 9/12s, you're going to get 3 and 3/4. And this is your final answer here. Now let's say if we were to write this out. So what I did here, I grouped my whole numbers together, and then I grouped my fractions together. So we have our 2 plus 1, this is going to be 3. And then we're going to have our 1 over 3 plus the 5 over 12. This is going to give us 9/12. And when you add this, you're going to get 3 and 9/12. And then when you simplify, it's going to give you the same answer that we have on the right side, 3 and 3/4. Let's look at this example here. Notice here my denominators are the same. Since my denominators are the same, I'm going to go ahead and add my numerators. So we have 5 over 8 plus 1 over 8. This is going to equal 6 over 8. However, if I simplify this, the number 2 goes into both. 6 divided by 2 is going to equal 3. And then 8 divided by 2 is going to equal 4. So your answer here, your 5 over 8 plus your 1/8 is going to be 3 over 4. And then your 7 plus 3, this is going to equal 10. Since I cannot simplify any further, your final answer is 10 and 3/4. And now let's see if we write everything out. And remember, I went ahead and grouped my whole numbers together, and then I grouped my fractions together. 7 plus 3, this is going to equal 10, plus your 5 over 8, plus your 1 over 8. So you have 10 plus 6 over 8, and then you're going to have 10 and 6/8. However, when you simplify your 6 over 8, this is going to give you 10 and 3/4. Let's look at this example here. So first I'm going to go ahead and add my 4 over 5 plus my 3 over 10. My denominators are not the same. Since my denominators are not the same, I'm going to find a common denominator. So 5, 10, 15, 20, I'll stop here. And for my 10, we have 10, 20, 30, and I'll stop here for now. My least common denominator between the two is going to be the number 10. I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by the number 2. And then for my 10, I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by just 1. So now I'm going to multiply so that we can add. So 2 times 4, this is going to be 8, and this is going to be over 10. Plus your 3 times 1, this is going to be 3, and that's also going to be over 10. Now that my denominators are the same, I'm going to go ahead and add my numerators. So 8 plus 3, this is going to equal 11, and that's going to be over 10. So your answer here, you have 11 over 10 here, and then you have 21 plus 6, which is going to give us 27. However, looking at this example here and looking at our answer, we do have an improper fraction because your 11 is greater than your 10, so we do need to turn it back into a mixed number. 10 goes into 11 one time. 10 times 1 is 10. 11 minus 10 is going to equal 1. So your mixed number here is going to be 1 and 1/10. So your answer here is going to be 27 plus your 1 and 1/10 here. Remember, we're going to add our whole numbers. So you're going to add your 27 plus your 1, and this is going to equal 28 and 1/10. And remember what we did here, we turned our 11 over 10 into a mixed number, which is what we have here. And then I went ahead and add my whole numbers, my 27 plus the 1 from our mixed number to give us this up here. All right, so now let's see if we write everything out, we're going to get the same answer. Let's see how that looks. So if I add my 21 plus my 6, this is going to be 27. And then the two fractions, the 4 over 5 plus my 3 over 10, this is going to give us 11 over 10. And then if you add everything and you simplify and you turn everything back into a mixed number, you're going to get the same thing. This is going to be 27 plus your 1 and 1/10. And then you're going to get 28 and 1/10. Let's look at this example here. I'm going to add my fractions. So we have 3 over 4 plus 3 over 8. My denominators are not the same, so we're going to find our common denominator. And then my 8, you have my least common denominator, least common multiple between the two is going to be the number 8. I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by 2. So 1, 2, because that's going to give me 8 in my denominator. And then on this side, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1 because I already have 8 in the denominator. I'm going to multiply 2 times 3. This is going to equal 6. That's going to be over 8. Plus your 3 times 1. This is 3. That's also going to be over 8. And if you add, you're going to get 9 over 8. And notice here that my 9 over 8 is an example of an improper fraction. So we're going to turn it back into a mixed number. So we're going to do 9 over 8 here. 8 goes into 9 one time. 8 times 1 is 8. 9 minus 8 is going to equal 1. So your mixed number here is going to equal 1 and 1/8. So 3 over 4 plus 3 over 8 is going to equal 1 and 1/8. And I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 plus my 1. This is going to equal 3. And just by looking here, don't forget that you do need to add your whole numbers. So I'm going to add my 3 plus the 1. This is going to equal 4. And then this is going to be an 1/8. So your final answer here is 4 and 1/8. So let's write it the other way. You're going to get 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 3 over 4 plus your 3 over 8 is going to give you 9 over 8. And then when you simplify and add everything, you're going to get 3 and 9/8. And when you turn it into a mixed number, you're going to get 3 plus your 1 and 1/8. And then you're going to get 4 and 1/8. Let's look at this example here. I'm going to go ahead and add my 7 over 9 plus my 1 over 3. Denominators are not the same, so let's go ahead and find our common denominator. And then my 3. Least common denominator between the two, least common multiple between the two is going to be the number 9. I'm going to multiply 1 over 3 here by 3 because that's going to give me 9 in my denominator. So 1, 2, 3, that's what we have here. And then for my 9, you can just multiply top and bottom by 1 or just leave it alone because we already have 9 in my denominator. So that's just 1 right there. I'm going to go ahead and multiply and then add. So 1 times 7 is 7. That's going to be over 9. 1 times 3 is 3. That's also going to be over 9. Now that my denominators are the same, I'm going to go ahead and add my numerators. So 7 plus 3, this is going to equal 10, and that's going to be over 9. However, remember, 10 over 9 is an example of an improper fraction because your number on top is greater than the number at the bottom. So I'm going to turn it back into a mixed number. So 9 on the outside, 10 on the inside. 9 goes into 10 one time. 9 times 1 is 9. 10 minus 9 is going to equal 1. So if you turn it into a mixed number, you're going to get 1 and 1/9 here. So this is going to equal 1 and 1/9. So if you add your fractions, you're going to get 1 and 1/9 here. Now if I add my 5 plus my 4, this is going to equal 9. And if I add my whole numbers, you're going to get 10 and 1/9. So we're going to add my 9 plus the 1. This is going to be 10 and then 1/9. So let's say if we wrote everything out here on this side, 5 plus 4, this is going to give us 9, plus 7 over 9, plus your 1 over 3. So you're going to get 9 plus 10 over 9. And this is going to give you 9 and 10/9. However, when you turn it into a mixed number and you get rid of your improper fraction, you're going to get 9 plus your 1 and 1/9, and that's also going to give you 10 and 1/9 as well. Let's look at this example here. I'm going to go ahead and add my fractions. My denominators are not the same, so I need to make sure I have a common denominator. And by looking at this example, my common denominator here is going to be the number 4. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by the number 2 because that's going to give me 4 in my denominator. So if I do 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4, this is going to equal 3 over 4. But let's say we didn't know that. So let's say we went ahead and found a common denominator. It's going to look like this. It's the multiples of my 2 and my 4. Find the least common multiple, the number 4. So that means I need to get 4 in my denominator so that I can add. Multiply top and bottom here by 1, 2. And then I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by just 1. So by looking at this, you're going to get 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4. We did 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times 2 is 2. And this is going to give us 3 over 4, which is what we have here. So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 2, this is going to be 3/4. And then 1 plus 2, my whole numbers now is going to equal 3. So your final answer here is 3 3/4. And if you write this out, if I add my whole numbers, so 1 plus 2, this is going to equal 3, plus my 1 over 4, plus my 1 over 2. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 2 is going to equal 3/4. So you have 3 plus your 3/4. And your answer here is going to be 3 3/4. All right, let's look at this example here. I'm going to go ahead and add my fractions, my 5 over 8 plus my 1 over 2. So notice my denominators are not the same. Since my denominators are not the same, I need to make sure I find a common denominator. List the multiples of my 8. So 8, 16, 24. I'll stop here for now. For my 2, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. And I'll stop here for now. My least common multiple between the two, my least common denominator between the two is going to be the number 8. So that means I need to get 8 in my denominator so that we can add. So by looking at my 8, I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by just 1. And then for my 2, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that's going to give me 8 in my denominator. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply. So 1 times 5, this is 5. And then 1 times 4, this is 4. So if I add, now that my denominators are the same, if I add my 5 plus my 4, this is going to be 9 over 8. However, this is an example of an improper fraction. So we're going to turn it back into a mixed number. 8 goes into 9 one time. 8 times 1 is 8. 9 minus 8 is going to equal 1. So your mixed number here is going to be 1 and 1/8. So your answer here is going to be 1 and 1/8. However, we do have our whole numbers here that we need to add. So we have 2 plus 1. This is going to equal 3. So you have your 3 plus your mixed number here. And remember, when you add your whole numbers, your 3 plus your 1, you add your 3 plus your 1, this is going to equal 4, and 1/8 is your final answer. If you were to expand this, 2 plus 1, this is going to equal 3, plus your 5 over 8 plus your 1 over 2. So you have 5 over 8 plus your 1 over 2. This is going to give us 9 over 8. So we have 3 plus 9 over 8. This is going to equal 3 and 9/8. However, when you get rid of your improper fraction and you add your whole numbers, you're going to come out with the same answer here, because this is going to give you 3 plus your 1 and 1/8. And then when you combine your whole numbers, you're going to get 4 and 1/8. And remember, guys, when you are adding this fraction here, so when I'm adding my 3 plus my 5 over 8 plus my 1 over 2, remember you need to find a common denominator. So when you're solving the fraction part, remember I can just multiply my top and bottom here by 4, because that's going to give me 8 in my denominator. So you're going to get 3 plus your 5 over 8 plus 4 over 8. And then this is going to give you 3 plus your 9 over 8, which is going to give you the 3 and 9/8. And then when you turn it back, it's going to give you this step up here. All right, so that is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.